sadly, we all know what's happening to the dollar. The dollar is going down, and it's not a pretty picture, and it's not being sustained by proper policy and proper thinking.
$1 billion, that's the value of goods the feds have seized at U.S. ports of entry over suspected ties to forced labor. That, according to recent data from Customs and Border Protection. Lots of companies stand to lose millions while their goods remain in custody. CNBC's Andrea Day joins us now. Andrea, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Carl. So we went inside one of America's largest ports and saw firsthand this mountain of goods being detained. Everything from solar panels to bedding to floor tiles from some of the biggest brand names. Those companies now scrambling to prove their supply chain is clean.
Can we put up that video of the president and his son, Hunter, working a rope line yesterday? Because that's what they did in Ireland, worked a rope line. Hunter was there. What's with Hunter being there?
I mean, this was sad on one level because you saw the president mumbling to a child, the best way to improve your life is to not get COVID. It's frightening on another level. See my earlier answer, he's a leader of the free world. But it's also appalling that they put out a guy like Hunter, who's being investigated on foreign interference charges in a foreign country to basically run comms for the White House. Think about that for a moment. Think of the gall, the lack of shame.
As we gather tonight, our nation is at war, our economy is in recession, and the civilized world faces unprecedented dangers. Yet the state of our union has never been stronger. Inspections, then kicked out the inspectors. This is a regime that has something to hide from the civilized world. States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil, arming to threaten the peace of the world by seeking weapons of mass destruction.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And we had Trump talk about the fall of the dollar a long time ago. And guys, we see the Fed messing up the supply chain, holding up over $1 billion worth of goods. We know they cause a problem, wait for the reaction, and run in with the solution. And we have Hunter Biden on the trail along with Biden. We know that Hunter Biden movie is around the corner. And we have George Bush Jr. talking about the drums are beating. Back then it was Iran, Iraq, and North Korea, the axis of evil. Now we have Russia, China, and Iran. And we know that's the new world order. And we see China making deals, being the peacekeeper, the role the United States used to have. And we're seeing the mainstream media pushing the Hegelian dialectic against China. China is the enemy. Russia is the enemy. The BRICS nations are the enemy. But what do we see our big banks and big corporations doing? Moving over to China. Moving over to the BRICS nations. Deal after deal, leaving the United States. And guys, we know this was planned a long time ago. The fall of America to Babylon and the United States world reserve currency, and the rise of China, the dragon, along with that digital yuan backed by that digital SDR. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows, when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
So Joe is enjoying his Irish vacation. The world, by the way, is now entering the most dangerous time, in my view, since World War II. My father fought in the Pacific for 4 years. And by the way, that includes the Cold War. A new axis of evil is now forming right before our eyes. And by the way, a new world order, it is taking shape, and it is not one that you should be happy about. All of this is a direct result of Joe Biden's glaring weakness on the world stage. And under Biden's failed leadership, America has now abdicated its role as the world's leading superpower. And China, they are racing in to fill the void. And just this week, the Chinese army released a video on state television showing what an attack on Taiwan would look like. By the way, this seems pretty imminent to me. And today, China issued even more warnings to the U.S. It seems to be a warning a day, at least, not to interfere with their territorial ambition amid the joint Philippines and U.S. military drills. But don't expect Joe to hold any of them accountable. They sent a spy balloon all across the continental U.S. and Alaska, and it relayed sensitive intelligence in real time back to China, Joe did nothing. When they threatened, quote, serious consequences over a U.S. warship in the South China Sea, Joe did nothing again. They have unleashed COVID on the world. They construct blatantly unfair trade deals. They commit rampant intellectual property theft. But again, your President Joe does nothing. How many more threats is Biden going to take from China before he finally takes action? But it's not just China getting a free pass. Russia, they shoot down a drone out of the sky or they take one out. What did Joe do to respond? Nothing. What do both countries have in common? Millions and millions and millions of dollars in business dealings with the Biden family syndicate. Coincidence? I don't think so. With Biden giving, up our position as the dominant leader in the world, this new axis of evil now is plotting to take over. Last month, China brokered that deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now we see that they're likely going to do the same thing with a Saudi Arabian deal with Syria this time. If that happens, that shows that Saudi Arabia has made a decision. Meanwhile, leaked U.S. intel is saying that Russian operatives are now claiming new ties with the UAE. In other words, the coalition that Donald Trump built, the U.S., Israel, the Saudis, the Emirates, Jordan, and Egypt is now falling apart and crumbling before our very eyes. Egypt is now giving weapons to Russia. We give them billions of dollars a year. It's time to stop giving them a penny. So make no mistake, these countries, they are making what is a calculated, deliberate decision to side with this new axis of evil. Let me explain in more detail. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, these countries that had bet on the U.S. when Donald Trump was in charge, allied with the U.S., they are now siding with China and Russia and Iran. They see America as weak, and they want to join the winning side. And they're betting that, in fact, Joe Biden and the United States will lose. In other words, they're betting against America, and they're betting on China. That is a real, clear, present danger to all of us in this country. And it is not just our enemies picking up Biden's weaknesses. Even our allies want nothing to do with him. Look at this recent visit to China with French President Macron, who's happy to throw Joe Biden right under the bus, saying, we won't get involved if you invade Taiwan. And by the way, before urging Europe to reduce their reliance on the U.S. dollar, China desperately wants that to be the world's currency. On top of that, we're dealing with multiple hostage crises all around the world. You have Secretary of State Wink and Tony Blinken recently confirming that there are still 175 Americans left behind in Afghanistan, and a number of them are hostages. And remember, Joe promised he wouldn't abandon Americans in Afghanistan. He did. And meanwhile, an American is being held in hostage in Mexico as we speak tonight. And a Wall Street Journal reporter is being detained in Russia, and he did nothing wrong. So how do we expect to lead the world if we can't even take care of our own? Our military is woke. Our economy is broke. We have absolutely zero leadership and courage. And the world has taken notice, and they've made a decision, China in particular, aligning with Russia and Iran, and now the Saudis, and now the Egyptians, and now the UAE, that they think this is their moment to act and become the world's #1 superpower.
Well, going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
It's Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks. The Seaver, the biotech stocks, And while everybody's at on wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.